Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Professacy over a year ago in the relationship advice subreddit. The post is titled, "My partner won't let me sleep and I don't know what to do." First off, I'll say I have sleep issues. I find it very difficult to get to sleep and stay asleep despite taking medication for it. When I finally do sleep, I snore. I've tried so many fixes for this, nose strips, adjusting positions, and speaking to many general practitioners about it. Nothing has worked, I can't control it. My partner has taken to, instead of rolling me over, just losing his patience and kicking doors open, yelling, screaming, and hitting the bed to scare me awake. This started a few months ago and was super infrequent, but has now picked up and is happening multiple times a week. I'm now having an even harder time getting to sleep. Bedtime is giving me so much anxiety. My body is like on a hair trigger now. I wake up at the slightest noise and never fully drift off anymore because I'm just expecting to be woken up in an extremely aggressive manner. I feel like I'm at the end of my tether. How do I get him to listen and just let me sleep? I mean, it's ridiculous to be scared of going to sleep when your partner is home, isn't it? I don't know what to do anymore. I can't just up and leave him because he's totally dependent on me financially and I don't have anywhere I could stay. We live paycheck to paycheck. It's not like I can just sleep somewhere else and still support us. He is so angry all the time now and I don't know how much longer I can be around him. I just want to be left alone to sleep in peace. Update. I have never made an update to a post before, so I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. Please let me know. I posted well over a year ago now, closer to 2 years at this point, about my sleep snoring issues causing aggression from my partner, and some people seemed really concerned for me in the comments, so I felt the need to update just so people know I'm okay. So, to update, not long after the post, I sat down with him and explained how upsetting his behavior was and he changed it. We aired our grievances, did some reflecting, and realized it was unsustainable. So, we implemented changes and it worked. Isn't it wild how communicating can fix problems? A lot of people wanted me to dump him and leave, but we have been together for years. I wanted to give it another try to see if we could find a solution. The first change was sticking strictly to separate sleeping areas, and sleeping separately helped so much. Seriously, we are so much better rested in our own spaces, and our sleep routines aren't being disrupted by each other. Also, we have fun sleepovers with no sleeping. Haha. Sleep deprivation was making both of us crazy stressed out, and we were not handling it well, him in particular. I've reached out to my general practitioner since then and am currently on a waiting list for a sleep study to confirm sleep apnea, which is not ideal, but at least there's movement there. I love the NHS, but don't love how long these waitlists take in my area. He also started therapy soon after my post, and we found out that he's autistic, which we suspected before but didn't know what to do about. He got diagnosed and really dove into resources on the topic. We've both learned so much about how to deal with it. He's done a lot of work on recognizing and coping with being overstimulated and redirecting his anger into healthier outlets. He's now trying to get me to get assessed too. I'll say something like, "Where are the scissors?" The way this thread is hanging off my sleeve and touching my arm makes me want to peel off my skin. And he'll just hold up a book on autism and point at me, which is fun. As for our financial situation I mentioned in my post, it flipped. He found a job and then I lost mine, so we're no better off on that front, but sleeping, and as a couple, we're doing so much better. I want to thank so many commenters on my first post for helping me realize it was not healthy or okay for either of us. We're still working on it, but we're in a much healthier, happier place. Thank you. User Potential OK said, "I am so sick of post after post where being on the spectrum is used as an excuse for being abusive. The OP is so full of it." User Ally Marie said, "I mean, I'm autistic and have been sleep deprived before. That hasn't made me resort to literally torturing my partner on a regular basis. There's still some severely behavior being swept under the rug here." Edit, "Oh, for sake, yes, I know the partner was also sleep deprived and that sucks. However, that is not an excuse to purposefully harm someone else. This wasn't a frustrated one-off incident in the heat of the moment. The partner was being abusive for months. There were many other solutions that should have happened way before it got to this point. They could have slept separately sooner, the partner could have worn earplugs. Literally anything besides inflicting literal torture on the author of the original post for an extended period of time to the point of trauma. Nothing excuses the partner's pattern of abusive behavior that indicates far deeper problems than just autism, and quite frankly, brushing this off as the partner just being autistic is extremely damaging to the autism community. Today, it's snoring. Tomorrow, it could be something else that sets off the partner into an abusive rage. User Avilola said, "My husband snores. I can testify that it legitimately makes you crazy when you go multiple days without sleep and multiple weeks or months with interrupted sleep. I remember lying in bed, staring at the ceiling in tears more than once because of it. It's not something I'm proud of, but I can say that I've woken my husband up many a night, shouting at him to stop snoring." Just an FYI, you can buy a CPAP machine without going through your doctor or insurance. It's not cheap, but it's the best money you'll ever spend. This second post was made in the AITA subreddit by a user named Anon Jewelry just a few days ago. The post is titled AITA for not giving my trans daughter my mother's ring. I posted this on Am I the Asshole, and they removed it because one of the mods really thinks I'm an asshole. I have added a few more details in here that people asked about before it was removed. I haven't removed anything. A few people said that if this is me trying to sound like I'm not an asshole, then I must be a huge asshole in real life. This is me being as real about these things as I can. I have 2 children we'll call Bob and Meg. Meg was born male but began to transition to female a year ago. My dad gave my mom a very large and expensive diamond ring for their 30th wedding anniversary, and when she died in 2009, her will stated that everything went to my dad except that ring, which is to pass on to the next born female in our family. I only have one sibling, a brother, and like me, he didn't have a daughter, so we just figured one of us would eventually have a granddaughter and she would get the ring. The ring was last appraised in 2004 for $1.2 million. I do not know what it's worth now. Meg and I have always had a contentious relationship. She was always having problems in school, always causing problems with her mom and brother, wouldn't listen to anyone, had never held a job for more than a few weeks, and has been arrested for shoplifting. She's just been a tough kid to raise. She still lives with us, and we're basically still paying for everything. A few weeks ago, she said that she wants my mother's ring. I thought she was kidding, but when I said no and kind of laughed about it, she exploded and called me all kinds of names and threw food all over the kitchen before storming out. I wanted to change the locks while she was gone, but I calmed down because I know that would probably lead to a bad outcome. My wife initially agreed with me, but has now started to think that Meg should get the ring. I am absolutely not going to give her the ring, and here is why. It would fracture my relationship with my brother. I am not 100% sure that Meg didn't transition specifically to get this ring. She has said several times that we're dumb not to sell it. A lot of people really took issue with this, and it's the reason my post was deleted. While it is very extreme to transition just to get a ring, children have murdered their parents for less money. Meg has already asked her grandparents and us for her share of the inheritance. I hate the thought of it too, and I hope it's not true. Even though this wasn't an issue my mother ever thought about, I am positive that she wouldn't want a trans female to have the ring. She wanted the ring to be passed down from daughter to daughter so that no one could ever lose it in a divorce. Currently, my daughter dates women, which could lead to the exact problem my mom wanted to avoid. Someone mentioned she could detransition after getting the ring. I hadn't even thought of that. Even though I'm not happy about it, I am willing to accept my daughter as she is, and I try my best to not dead name her and to use the right pronouns. A lot of people said many hateful things about me being transphobic, and if that's how you feel, consider that I still support her. She's on my insurance, and I pay for her medication that insurance doesn't cover. It's been hard on the whole family, and we're all doing the best we can. Her doctor said that being transgender may be the reason she struggled so much growing up, and at the end of the day, I just want my kids to be healthy and happy. I don't feel like I'm being an asshole here, but with my wife starting to question the situation, I thought maybe I'd get some outside perspectives. A couple of additions since people are asking. The ring is in a safety deposit box in another city. Meg doesn't even know who to contact in order to see if she'd be eligible for the ring. In that sense, I am stopping her from getting the ring. I am not sure what the exact wording of the will is, but it's a legal document and very specific about how the ring should transfer. If one of us has a CIS granddaughter who isn't responsible and would want to sell the ring, I would do all I could to stop the transfer. However, unless there are stipulations in the will for that, which there might be, I would really have no choice. I have not told Meg that I suspect she transitioned just to get the ring. I was talking to my wife about it because so many people have mentioned how crazy that is, and it doesn't seem crazy to me. My wife verbalized it better than I did. She's always treated us, but especially me, like a resource, not like family. User Pretty Little Pastry said, "Hey OP, my older sister acts very similarly to Meg, but she's not transgender. Let's take transgender out of the equation. Meg throws tantrums and has said she'd sell the ring. Trust me, she will do just that. My sister stole and sold my grandmother's ring that was supposed to come to me. She also stole and sold my Scottish great-grandmother's platinum bracelet that was supposed to come to me. I can't get those things back. My older sister is now in jail at 38 for not paying her registration and car insurance." User Slow Company said, "Not the asshole. Take her being trans completely out of the equation. Honestly, it shouldn't be a reason. The reason is she's unreliable, irresponsible, and has made comments of selling it so much so asking for her inheritance already. Those are the reasons not to give it to her, and those are the reasons you will give her and anyone else who pushes for her to get it. Hold on to it for a future granddaughter. Don't pass it to a daughter-in-law, because if one day your son's or nephew's marriage doesn't work, you do not want the ring leaving the family." User Any Expression said, "She has a history of criminal behavior, so no, she definitely shouldn't get $1 million ring. It will be sold within a week. Put it in a safety deposit box or with a trustee." Update: I contacted the law firm that set up the will and got some clarification on the actual terms. Long story short, there is language in it that stops Meg from being eligible to claim the ring. There are also exclusions for being gay and for being untrustworthy, among other things. In addition to the specific exclusions outlined in the will, anyone can inherit it if my brother, my father, and I all vote for it. I remember when my parents set this up. It was such a big deal. It was going to be their legacy. They immigrated to the US while my mom was pregnant with me, and it was very important to them to set down roots. This was going to be the thing that would bind our family together for generations and keep the story of their trials and eventual success relevant to our bloodline. I hadn't thought about the ring in a long time. Why would I? We weren't planning on having any more kids, and neither was my brother, so that generation wasn't going to get it. So why would it matter what the actual terms were? When my daughter started to transition, it didn't even occur to me that it might make her eligible for the inheritance. That's how far removed from my day-to-day life the ring is. Now that this has all happened, I've given a lot of critical thought to what this ring really is and what it will, in all probability, accomplish. Honestly, almost all of the comments that I received here were helpful, so thank you. Unless you accuse me of naming my daughter Meg because of Family Guy, or said that this is an episode of Family Guy. I have spoken to my brother. I told him that Meg asked for the ring, and I said no without even knowing the terms of the will. He agreed that Meg has too many problems to get the ring, and like me, he hadn't even thought about the ring since the will was established. I asked him what we should do if one of our kids has a daughter and she's totally irresponsible and wants to pawn the ring. He agreed that it would be a problem he wouldn't want. Then I told him that I just don't see this working out the way our mom had thought it would. Depending on the economic conditions, by the time it's inherited, it might just be a race to see who can have the first girl so they can sell it and have some security. The further away from my mom it gets, the less sentimental value it has. He agreed with all of my points. I suggested that we sell it and set up a trust in our mother's name that gives all of our kids several payments to make their transition into adulthood easier. Maybe a payout at 18, 21, and 30. My brother likes the idea, but the only way we can do this is by convincing my dad. He's 83 and still pretty sharp, but his wife's memory and legacy are very important to him, so I have no idea if it's something he'll even consider. So that's where we are. Thanks for your input. Edit: the valuation for the ring is for insurance purposes. I don't know anything about jewelry. According to the helpful people here, the ring is worth somewhere between 10% and 80% of that value. I'm sure we'll get a new valuation if we go forward with the sale. I don't really know anything about the ring other than it's a single large diamond. So many hateful people on here talking negatively about my dead mom. You are really cool. My mom had some bad, antiquated ideas, but she was a great mom. I had a great childhood, and my kids, who she loved very much, also have great memories of her. So enjoy hating on an old dead woman. I'm sure it impresses the other slugs on here. This final post was made in the Credit Score subreddit about 4 months ago by a throwaway account. The post is titled, "Ex-wife opened 2 credit cards in my name in the amount of $6K. She's threatening to withhold my visitation rights for our son if I turn her in." This is a sad situation, but after my divorce, I ended up moving about 30 miles away where I bought a house and got a job transfer. The divorce was finalized about 4 years ago. She got primary custody as she lives in the school district, though I get most weekends and holidays. We've been fairly cordial about it, and it's been working for a while. Eventually, I'd like to get to a 50-50 arrangement, as she'll be moving to a different school district once our son hits high school shortly, and I just move into that district. My problem is that my ex has opened up a couple of credit cards in my name. I had no idea this was happening until I received a letter from a collection agency. It was pretty obvious she was the one who opened the accounts, as the address on the accounts is hers, and it looks like the statements are mainly from where she shops. When I dropped our son off on Monday, I told her I found the accounts and that I'd have to go to the police unless she paid them off completely right away. She denied it at first, then said if I went to the police, she'd disallow visitation for safety reasons. Unfortunately, she'd be able to do this and has done so in the past, requiring me to go back to court with my lawyer to force her to follow the parenting agreement. That's how I gained all holidays shortly after the divorce, basically as a punishment for failing to comply with the parenting order, but still allowing her to be the custodial parent. I don't want my son to have to go through this, but I am certainly not taking the hit to my credit for what she's doing. I'm probably going to make the report, but is there anything else I'm missing? User Coleman said, first off, I love how she went from denying it to threatening. Great level of trustworthiness right there. Second, literally treat her like anyone else. Someone committed fraud against you. Report it and take care of yourself. Third, drag her back to court for damages and request that the parenting agreement be amended. It's clear she can't be trusted with finances, and that should be grounds for losing some parenting rights. If she's violated the parenting agreement before, point out that this isn't the first time she's made executive decisions. User That Crazy Plant Girl said, dude, stop being a doormat and turn her in. She won't have a leg to stand on if she's in jail. I don't know why you think she has any bargaining power here when she will get in trouble for identity theft and not following the custody agreement by extorting you not to turn her in. User McFlame said, next time you either pick up your child or drop him off, record your interaction with your ex-wife. That way, if she does try anything, you have evidence that she stole your identity to open those credit cards in your name. You will easily be able to get the police involved, as it is an open and shut case of identity theft because she admitted to opening the cards in your name. There is no way for her to win. If she does try to disallow visitation, go after her for full custody of your son. Update. There's some good and some bad, unfortunately. Since this started several months ago, she has been horrible. I went to the police regarding the credit card accounts. Getting the report was painless, and they said it happens a lot. Both of the credit cards have dropped off my credit report. My credit is back to normal, and I've set up a credit monitor to make sure it doesn't happen again. It doesn't look like she's going to be prosecuted for opening the cards in my name. I was told when I made the report that it would be up to the credit card companies to cooperate with the prosecutors if they wanted to go through with fraud charges. Apparently, they don't cooperate most of the time, but I can still ask the county to prosecute on behalf of myself, which I did. In November, I got a form letter saying they wouldn't be prosecuting my case. I asked a criminal defense lawyer I know about it, and he said the county maybe goes forward with 10% of criminal cases where people get arrested. It's nearly zero where there is no probable cause for an arrest. He said his job is basically just working out deals for clearly guilty people. He also said to let it go at this point, so I've come to terms with the fact that she's not going to face criminal charges and probably not even a lawsuit. She also did exactly what she said she would do and stopped letting me see our son. I've documented every single instance since September that she's failed to follow our court-ordered custody agreement. I finally got her served at work, and she claimed I was abusive and manipulative. I had the police report for the credit cards and basically said the visitation violations started the week after I made the report. The judge basically gave her a final chance to follow the order before he would grant an alteration, and she'd possibly face criminal charges. At the first child exchange after the hearing a couple of weeks ago, she said she needs more child support and alimony, asking for an extra $1.5K a month. I told her absolutely not. Last week I went to pick him up, she never showed up, and I got a documentation number from the police. The next day, I received a new account detected email. I got the account canceled before the card was even sent to her address. I froze my credit, made another report, and am waiting for the will not prosecute letter. She's failed to show up with him ever since. I got her served at work, and our new hearing is in a week and a half. I know eventually things are going to work out, but she's really testing my nerves. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, Gamersubs. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.